Hello, and thanks for joining us here on France 24. It's time now to take a look through some of this Friday's international newspapers with our press reviewer, Nicholas Rushworth. He joins you now.
Good morning, Laura.
Right, so we're going to start off, of course, with the financial turmoil that we were referring to in the news bulletins a bit earlier on. And I guess the world papers are all leading on those falls on the stock markets yesterday.
Absolutely. The Wall Street Journal there had with its headline, "Two terrible weeks," and we can see a forlorn, glum-looking Jean-Claude Trichet, the president of the European Central Bank, staring at that graph which shows the markets in the UK, Italy and US in steep decline, more than 9% since the 25th of July, the paper says. And, of course, we've been covering all that in the news, the details of this plunge. Down under, in the Sydney Morning Herald, they have a comment piece by one of their business writers, Ian Verenda, and he warns, well, this time it is serious. If you thought it was rough 3 years ago, that was just a dress rehearsal. He says it had finally dawned on traders in the world markets that there is almost no way to avoid economic calamity. The Guardian International, just a quick look there at the front page, world markets in turmoil, and inside the paper in its editorial it has state of emergency. It opens with the words, "The conventional wisdom is that in August it's a sleepy month, Sleepy Hollow, but politicians, policymakers all on the beach." But this is not the case. The conventional wisdom is wrong. Look at what happened in August 2007. The credit crunch began then with BNP Paribas and others following, if we remember well. One of the consequences that's been is on the streets in London, according to the online paper London 24. It has a story, "Gold price spike puts London women in danger of crime." And this is because of the gold price has become a refuge, and apparently the police in London are saying that jewellery thefts of necklaces and so on have jumped in recent months in the British Council, in the British capital, and women are at extra risk. I was wondering, could America handle all this after the US debt crisis of last weekend? There's no respite for them. And the USA International Edition, USA Today International Edition, has this cartoon, and it's showing Barack Obama with the debt deal in his hands, but he's falling off the edge of the cliff, and that cliff is labelled jobs, credit rating, recession. The International Herald Tribune also has a cartoon. It shows a couple saying, well, we got the debt ceiling fixed, didn't we? And then we look at the actual building of the federal government building. We can see the ceiling is there and the roof, but no walls. Instead, what's holding up the building is a pile of chairs, and that pile of chairs, very precarious there, is labelled bond rating.
Some good cartoons there from the International Herald Tribune. Now let's move back to here in Europe. One country on the front line in all this, of course, is Italy. We heard a little bit earlier on about some of the problems they're facing. So what's the press there saying about the crisis?
Well, I was curious to see what Il Giornale would say. Silvio Berlusconi's brother owns that paper, and the front page headline there you can see Euro in coma, Euro in a coma, and the message is that the turmoil is due to speculators, and the credibility of the Berlusconi government does not enter into this. I also turn to Ireland, which has the front page headline, "Market Rout as rejects call for more EU action." As Berlin rejects call for more EU action. That's on the front page of the Irish Times. Also in that paper, there's a column by the writer Miriam Lord. There you can see the front page there of the Times. And inside there, the Miriam Lord, a columnist, takes a look at recession fashion. The Dublin Horse Show is underway. And a couple of the judges, one judge is a public expenditure minister. He was called on to decide a lady's dress for the best lady's dress, and he chose someone in bondage gear, and he got told off for that. So it's not bondage, it's flagellation. Of course, lots of jokes there about the cuts underway in Ireland. Another judge had no socks on, and the columnist was wondering, well, gosh, you can even imagine you could have a tax on that. And the recession fashion is that the winner, after all, she made her dress herself.
I see, and very nice it looks too in that picture. Thank you very much indeed, Nicholas, for that look at all today's international newspaper headlines. And that's just about it from the press review. We'll be back in a few minutes' time with more news headlines. Do stay tuned to France 24.